All right, so we have an amazing guest on this evening. We're very excited to have Rebecca Moore on, and we'll be introducing Rebecca in just a moment. So we're still admitting attendees to the meeting, but we will go ahead and get started. Next week's speaker, by the way, is Charles Lemire. Looks like you're on here too, Charles. Welcome. Excited to hear you next week.
Well, I got to get before you say something, but okay, I'm here now.
Awesome. Yes, sir. Eagle City Apartment Group, little bit about us. We have Asif Kumar lives here in the Dallas area. He is part of the team. Dr. Sanjeev and Nikki Mall are part of our team. They also live here in the Dallas area. And they're out of the country right now, so they're not on this call, but they're typically on the call as well. Eagle City Multifamily, we acquire apartments and we open the investments up to individuals like you and I that invest in the deals and become direct owners in these apartments that we purchase as we make them available, as we acquire apartments. So we have apartments in Texas and the Carolinas currently. And I'll go ahead and introduce our amazing guest this evening. Very excited to have Rebecca Moore on the call and to share her story. Rebecca Moore is the co-founder of Starboard Equity. She has been a real estate investor since 2014. She has syndicated the acquisition of 8 properties with over 900 units as a general partner and 2,900 units as a limited partner. Rebecca's story is one of the powerful determination and persistence. She shares how she hired a mentor, learned to underwrite, build relationship with brokers and investors to help her win and fund deals in Texas while living in California. And she'll be telling us a lot about that in just a moment. All while managing a full-time psychology practice. Now she is free from her job. She moved from sunny San Diego to Dallas to commit to the tremendous DFW multifamily market and create more investment opportunities. She created Starboard Equity to help others accelerate their path to financial freedom by investing in multifamily properties. Welcome, Rebecca. Would you mind telling us how you got started with this journey?
Yes, well, great. It's been quite a long one now, it seems. So I was, again, a psychologist. I was working at the Naval Hospital there at Balboa in San Diego. My husband was a active duty officer at the time. And we were preparing for his retirement from the Navy and thinking about what are we going to do with all of our single family homes that Warren had mainly acquired during his years in the Navy. He had bought a few up in Virginia, and he had one down in Corpus Christi. And as we, came to the end of our Navy journey, we thought, what are we going to do with all of these homes? Are we going to buy our retirement home or maybe an income generating property? And we were thinking more along the lines of a 4-plex or an 8-plex or something along like that. We had no idea about syndications, but we knew we wanted to do something with these homes. And Warren's idea the whole time was that it would fund his retirement over and above what the Navy would give. So he was already future oriented in his financial decision making, and he was willing to allow a property manager to manage those houses as he was on deployments, as he was in the Middle East. And so although we did not, we had to pay the property manager, still people were paying down our mortgage. And in fact, we have still one of those Virginia houses, and we just paid off the mortgage about a year ago with the same tenant in it the entire time. So that is very, very unusual, but glad that we still kept it. But the other two, we did sell as we got into multifamily. So how did we do that? So when we had these questions in our mind of how can we build upon the real estate that we had, we went to a real estate expo. We thought we would find out how to buy, like I said, 4-plex, 8-plex, something like that. And there in Anaheim, California at the time, that's where we met Brad Sumrock. And there were other people that were selling their educations as well. But there was something about Brad that was very authentic and genuine. And of course, my husband, the military man, just loved it that that Brad had a counter, time countdown, and that as soon as it clicked all zeros, Brad came out. So for him, that was like, oh, this guy's on time. He must be reliable. He must, really care about his stuff. But anyhow, Brad basically, told his story and said, if you want to, understand more about syndication, come out to Dallas, basically the following weekend or 2 weekends after that, to hear my R to R. So we said, okay, to each other and said, let's go see what this guy has. We think, he might be the real deal. He might be able to help us. And so that was the beginning of our journey with a mentor.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I met you, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we just had another one of the R to R's this weekend. That's where I met Chris.
So. Oh, great. Well,
Yeah.
it's definitely gotten much bigger since 2013-14.
Oh, wow.
Transformed.
Absolutely. It's world class.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Earlier you were telling me some about your 6-year
commute.
Your commute. Yes, from California to. Would you mind telling us about that?
No, that's a very, very important part of the journey, and hopefully it will help other people stomp out any kind of objection that you might have that you can't do this work, because you can, and nothing should be holding you back. Even, a 2.5-hour plane ride didn't hold me back, and I could do it from California with a full-time job. So again, like I said, I was working at the Naval Hospital there, and I'd work Monday through Friday. Warren, on the other hand, he was at that time in charge of a squadron of ships, and you don't leave. You can't fly out of the state just because you want to. It's a very bad idea, because you're taking care of those ships, but also you would have to ask your chain of command. So when we signed up with Brad, that basically was the idea that, Rebecca, you've got to be the one to do this. And I was actually really okay with that. I was very happy, because it sounded very unique, and I'm definitely the people person. So it was fun at the beginning to do it. It gets tiring, but it was fun. But also a thing about it is that was one of the big obstacles in my previous very much scarcity mindset of, this is going to cost us a lot of money. every other month going out there, because Brad would have, R to R, and then he would have the bus tours, and then he might have the Christmas party. And so those of you who know that schedule, it's every other month he has something going on. And my husband really encouraged me to just go, just don't worry about the cost, just go. So it was a matter of, me coming out to Dallas on a Friday night, after work, right? I mean, I had that drive, I had the passion. Come out here after work, get into the hotels, get up for either R to R or to the bus tour so I could network with people, but most of all, to learn. And so lucky for me, because it was so long ago, it was learning directly from Brad. And he would be, at the front of the bus and talking about the differences between a B and a C class, what we need to do for a C class in order to increase the value of it. He would also have, of course, Old Capital and folks on there talking about finance. So that was a world that I did not know at all. So overcoming that, that barrier for me was just learning, listening, learning, and showing up all the time. So during those times on the bus tours, there were the rock stars at that time, just as you might have rock stars right now who are really, getting the syndications done and listening to them. And so I made it my job to be sure to sit next to them as we went from one property to the next to ask them questions. And it was very, very helpful. And so I would encourage everybody to find the person that is doing what you're doing and talk to them. The bus tours are great opportunities to do that, or any other network event. So in making those friendships, one person took me under his wing and began to help me learn to underwrite very well. And that for me was eye-opening to this new world of real estate and syndication. And from there, we started underwriting together and talking on the phone daily and putting in LOIs.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
That was a great start, apparently. Then would you tell us a little more about your military life? You say your husband is a captain.
Yes. So in the Navy, the captain is an 06, where in other branches like the Air Force, a captain is an 04. So that's all rank based. So, but let me just tell you that he is a ship driver. So he is the captain of the ship. His rank was captain, and he was the captain of ships. And so we got moved around some.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes, he's quite the leader, very much so. So at that time, he was in charge of several ships and their captains. So he couldn't participate in the
That's
beginning.
amazing. That I can tell you're a power woman to be able to do this. And like you said, actually have fun doing it, right? While you did it alongside of your other full-time job or, profession.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Could you talk a little more about that? Because I hear, a lot of people talk about maybe not having enough time. And I know you have the same 24 hours that I do and everyone else has, right?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And that's where it takes a lot of drive and a lot of passion, that burning desire to get to the place that you want to get to. And so that means being creative with your hours. And so what was funny is that I can remember that as I was learning how to talk to brokers on the phone, I would be in my office at the hospital and be there during my lunch hour, getting up the nerve to call somebody, because I didn't know really what to say back then. But my friend would help me script it. Here's what you want to ask. here's what you want to, talk about, or talking to lenders or talking to whomever, and using my lunch hour to get it done. Also, what worked out for us is that I got off at 4:30 and Warren didn't get home till maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So that worked out in my favor, where that's where became my underwriting time. And just like those, they talk about the 10,000 hours, those 10,000 kicks from Bruce Lee, you have to spend that time getting good at whatever it is that you desire. And in this case, it is getting good for me at the underwriting, because you need to know the product that you are buying. You need to know every step of the business plan that you plan to implement. And so therefore, those hours were spent just learning something which was completely new to me. Because again, I'm a social scientist. I'm, talking, I'm about the brain. I'm not working with numbers. So this was a hurdle for me to overcome, but I enjoyed it and was so driven to want to know it, because not only of, yes, it's money. Yeah, that's fun. But the self-actualization of being able to do something very monumental to me in my world, to be able to own an apartment, to be able to take care of other people's money, to be able to run that apartment building to the degree that you do, that has been very, very rewarding to me. And learning this new field. So as far as getting, the time in, you have to make the time. And there were a lot of times that, I would come home from a very fast and furious, let's say, weekend of R to R, as you just experienced, and be wiped out, totally wiped out. But yet at the same time, pumped up with the idea of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is going to make my retirement so much better. And along the way, I'm going to help other folks to get to the position that I am in. So let's go back, talk about getting to this position. Before I got my first deal, I put in 26 LOIs. So it wasn't fast. I wasn't the rock star. I often talk about how I'm the tortoise, not the hare. And I'm okay with that now. Before, sometimes I would think, oh, I'm not doing it fast enough, as if there is a race or as if there's competition, but there isn't. I wanted to, or I should say this, the person that I was working with to get my first deal wanted to make sure it was the best deal possible, because he was so aware of how reputation is so important, especially for a first-time deal syndicator. So in thinking of that, he wanted to make sure that all the numbers were, how could you say, there was plenty of mistakes that could be made that I could make and still do well. Luckily, I didn't make too many of them, but he wanted to make sure it was a very good cash flowing value add deal. And so we did not take unnecessary risks. And I'm so glad for that, because we did so well on that first apartment building. But what it did is it taught me again the importance of a good night's sleep. When you are a syndicator, you want to be able to sleep well. You want to know that your investors are well fed and that your property is doing well, rather than give yourself a heartache and sleepless nights. It's just not worth it. So it took me a long time. And again, that 26 LOIs was a good year and a half of underwriting. So I wasn't quick draw McGraw or anything like that, but I did get a very good first deal, and one that worked out very well in the end.
Rebecca, would you explain a little bit what an LOI is and what all went into that, those 26 LOIs that you're talking about?
Yeah, you bet. So an LOI is the letter of intent, the letter that you send to the seller that I have the intention of wanting to buy your property. And in that letter of intent, that goes to the broker. So it tells the broker, this is the price that I believe that I should pay for this building. So price is number one, but also it says in there that I need to have at least 30 days or 21 days at least for due diligence. I need to be able to bring in a team that can really look into the attics, in underneath if necessary, looking at the foundation, at the electrical, looking at the boilers if they're boilers or HVACs, so that I can know, is this property sound? Or is there more that meets the eye? Am I going to find tons of mold in the attic or something? Or am I going to find that even though, let's say, Federal Pacific panels, which are very old and do tend to have aluminum wiring, which could be a problem. And that's a whole nother, you can do a whole nother webinar on that. So it also has something very important called the contingency, which is the contingency for your financing. And so back in those days, we could have a contingency saying, if I don't get X interest, I'm not going to buy this. Whereas nowadays, we might put in there, I'm going to put X amount of earnest money, hard money by day 10 or by the time the PSA is signed. So the LOI is very, very, very important and has a lot of legal information in it explaining how you will do the very beginning of the deal.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
a
you.
long.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work that went into those 26 LOIs that you're talking about, because you were looking for deals. You looked at many more than 26 to
Yeah.
actually submit 26 offers to purchase, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It takes a lot of time.
Rebecca, would you talk to us a little bit about passive investors, like what you did before you did your own deals, right? Did you passively invest?
I sure.
And what would you say to someone that is interested in investing in an apartment deal?
Oh, I would say it's an absolutely great way to invest your money and to build wealth. So yes, when I first learned about syndication and was going to our investment group there in Dallas, we met plenty of sponsors who were getting deals. Brad Summer, of course, was one of them, but there were others as well. And our first one was actually, our first deal was in Colorado. In fact, Charles was also on that deal with us as LPs. And when we did that deal, yeah, that was a good deal too. What I learned, and as an LP, for you to be an LP first, the great thing about it is that you begin to get monthly updates typically from your deal sponsor, and you begin to read what's important to them, because they'll tell you the updates. And so they will start talking about the occupancy, the delinquency. They'll talk about what CapEx they're doing. So meaning the upgrades that they're doing to the building and why. They'll talk about what happens in the office, anything crazy that happens at the building, because you never know. But also they'll send you the financials every month. And that right there, for any beginning apartment investor of any kind, whether you're an LP or a GP, reading that T12, as it's called, so the 12-month profit and loss, begins to paint the picture of exactly what's happening at that building. It tells you, again, the rent that you're getting, how many people are getting evicted, depending on what financials they send you. It's showing you the expenses all the way down from the pipes of the plumbing to the HVAC on there to the landscaping. So you can begin to see where are we working or what's not working. Just seeing how the flow of this industry works. And again, having that rapport with your syndicator will help you learn quite a bit of some of the do's and don'ts potentially of owning a building. So I think that it's very wise, if not, it should be a requirement to be an LP before a GP.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's valuable information for someone. What would you say about someone interested in investing? Like, how would they go about finding partners or vetting partners, right? Maybe they know of someone. What should they look for? What did you look for before you invested?
I was completely naive, and I had my source, okay, and again, that was the Sumrock Group there, and so I again naively walked in and said, "Oh, okay, they must be fine," and luckily, it was a great group back then, and again, it's evolved, and some people have moved on to different things, some people have stayed. I think if you are in an investment group of any kind, getting to know your sponsor first. So I had the luxury, again, of going to Dallas every other month and getting to know these folks before I invested with them. Because what's important is to know, like, and trust these people. So when I say I naively went in, I didn't know that definition, but I just knew from knowing these people for several months and seeing the work that they were doing. But if you don't know the person, I would say get to know them. Second, I would ask for their track record. You most likely would like to work with somebody who's done this before and understand who their team members are, such as with Eagle, knowing who are all the team members. In some cases, people even do background checks on sponsors. I've not done that because I feel like I know the people that I have passively invested with, but it's not a bad idea. Also, get their numbers from them, so their track record numbers. So what that means is when a person goes full cycle on a building, they will have the end game numbers. So for example, if they projected they would get you 100% returns, they should have what the end game was on that building. So you should know that. And hopefully maybe they'll have more than one building. Or maybe this is somebody that you know, like, and trust already and know that they're going to put their very best foot forward and give you a chance. And maybe you're with somebody else who has more experience. You want to get that person, that partner's information. And next, or lastly, I would say get references. Don't worry, ask for their investors' phone numbers for just a few, so that you can ask those people's questions. Or if they're part of the group that you're in, find out who's invested and go and talk with those people, because they will have the knowledge. They'll know who's doing a great job and who they like or not like so much. So I think those are some good important pieces when you're looking to invest with a sponsor.
That's great information, Rebecca. And if it's okay with you, we'll open it up to the attendees to ask you questions if that's okay, or if they,
Absolutely.
want to comment on anything.
Yeah.
So anyone, Chris, Charles, Matthew, anyone on the call? If you would like to talk to Rebecca, it's a good chance. You can mute yourself or raise your hand either way. So any questions, anyone? Charles, I saw you posted something about a ship independence in the chat.
We went out to San Diego and I got a tour. Gayla and I got to tour. I was more excited than she was, as a matter of fact. We got to tour the Littoral ship Independence, which Warren was in charge of at the time. And he is a big dog in the Navy too, because they piped him aboard. I mean, the whistle and all that other stuff, and they rang the bell, and he was the head honcho, as it were. So, and we got a really nice tour of the ship. It was really, really fun for me.
That was a great day, Charles. That was
Yes.
so fun to have you.
Anything that's big and floats and has guns is just super in my mind.
That's amazing. Chris, go ahead. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Chris,
Hi.
you were in the military?
I was in the military, yes, but I was the captain of a ship. I was the captain of a Humvee. Anyways, my question to you, Rebecca, and thank you for your time tonight, are there any examples? Can I see a letter of intent? Where can I find those letter of intent so I can read over them myself to learn? Because I'm brand new in this, and so I'd like to learn as much as I can. So I learn as much as I can. So, is there a place where I can find those letters of intent?
Well, usually, I mean, we have a bunch of them just because we've done so many of them. I don't mind sending you some of ours that we have done. One of the things about being in a group, though, just to sort of think about, if you are thinking about being in a group, that
Rebecca, could I interrupt just a second?
Mhm.
Chris just joined the Sunrock group this weekend.
You
So
did join.
he is part of
Okay.
the Sunrock group.
Great.
So
Well,
go ahead.
There is a lot of power within that. And what I mean by that is that, yes, you'll have the LOIs, you'll have tons of people showing you how. You have the coaches, but the power of the network, and as Brad calls it, the ecosystem, will help you in every way that you ask. So you have all sorts of information now on your plate. And so now that you're a student, it's going to be on the student website. So you'll have that.
Perfect. Thank you. I received an email this morning that says, here's a video. So I just got off of work and I can't wait to go watch them.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, you can ask all the coaches. They'll provide you samples if you can't, or they'll show you where to find it on the website, or I'll help you too if you need help, just call me anytime.
Appreciate that.
We help each other.
Yeah, that's another part of this group, is that we're very much giving and wanting to help people that are new. So feel free to reach out to me as well if you'd like any help.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
If I may, it sounds as if, Chris, you want to become a lead. I will say that you probably need to do as a passive at least once or twice, simply because you don't have the perspective, in my humble opinion.
Sure.
If I'm going to dump my money in your lap, I'd like to have some clue that you've been through it a couple of times so you see it from the other side too.
Good
It
point.
just makes sense to me for people to go, hey, I'm just going to be a lead because I don't want to bother with that other stuff. And my comment is usually, I hope you have really rich relatives. So
I plan to, like I said, I haven't opened my eyes. I haven't even opened the emails yet to watch the videos. I don't know anything yet. This is my first call. Her invited me into the call, and here I am. So this is
not a problem. I'm just and I'll stick my email in the list. I stick out my 2 cents. I'm a serial LP, so don't expect to get anything out of me in the way of GPing, but I do a lot of LPing, and I have comments on people. Rebecca, I was in her first deal. I think Bristol's was your first deal, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
And they did very well. I'm very happy with how it all worked out. So there you have it.
Thank you, Charles. Yeah, I really appreciate that you took a chance on me. Charles knew my co-sponsor, and so he knew that my co-sponsor would help lead the way. So that really helped me. And so in thinking about getting your own deal and sponsoring with somebody who has experience is the way to go, because that'll help you with your own what is it? Not your reputation, but
Well, getting a loan has a lot to do with it too. So.
yes. Well, I wasn't going to get into all that, but yeah, you bet. Anyhow, yeah. So I'm very pleased that Charles and Gayla came on to the Bristols with me, and Charles knows everybody and knows everything. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
How many deals are you invested in? Isn't it 60 or 70, Charles?
At this instant, I've gotten into 69, one with the money on the table. I thought we bought the thing. We're still in limbo on that. And 37 have sold, 33 are on hold. Well, 32 are on hold with the one with the money. So
okay, wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
just LP, lazy person. What can I say?
That's great.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, where would you say to, 'cause like I said, I'm brand new. Besides the videos, starting there and these calls and learning as much as I can, where would you say the best place to start for me is?
Talk to people, meet people, see what they're doing. I mean, you're going to, when you get to be a GP, you're gonna have to find somebody that you want to hang your hat with. Something just happened. You're gonna have to find someone to co-GP with. That's typically the way in.
Mhm.
But along the way, see what integrity you can find among the group. I mean, most people are very honest and all that stuff, but you have different tastes. Everybody's different tastes in people. So find out who you want to invest with, and see what you like about them. Don't necessarily invest in the first deal you hear about, but track a few deals, watch a few deals, see how they come out, see how the numbers work out, see what's offered to you. One of the downsides of this for me when we invest, I don't get the 30 or 40 or 50 deals that are going to come out during the year on day one and get to compare them. I only get to 2 or 3 at any one instant in time. And, you get to choose what's there. You can't choose what's going to be there because you don't know. So it's a very strange environment to invest in, but learn, go through all the training, pick your coach, who you want on that, bug them and get them to tell you stuff. Start networking with everybody, because it's the meeting of people that's the big deal in this thing. It's a very much a networking kind of business, and I call it the Bratosphere because I'm off color all the time, but that's beside the point.
That's one of the great things I noticed about the Sumrock group is everybody I've talked to has been amazing. I mean, very giving of their time, the information they have. I mean, it's been incredible. Everybody I've talked to has been great. Everybody.
It's really cool in that is such a group that is open. I mean, there'll be a slight competition if 2 people are bidding on the same place, but I haven't seen anybody knife anybody else since the beginning. It's a pretty good deal, and everybody's pretty open about offering information. I think you'll enjoy it. My 2 cents on a person starting out like Rebecca, I know who their coach is, so I know how well they were trained. Now I want to know integrity and a few other things too, but I don't need someone with 20 years experience. I don't mind that, but I also like someone who has a very good coach, so I know that I'm doing it the same way they're doing it. We're going to speak the same dialect of the language about multifamily, and we all use the same spreadsheet for doing the underwriting. And given that spreadsheet, it's very easy for me to look at one and see if they're doing anything really stupid or just sort of stupid. Sorry, I can't really be serious at any one time, but it makes it real easy. Whereas if I look at a deal from outside the group, typically I'm going to have to really dig a lot to get information out of it. A lot more. Hey, the Red's supposed to win this week, just to tell you that, Herb.
Red, okay. I didn't tell you up front, but we are giving up away a gift, a $10 Starbucks card to one lucky winner that is live on the call with us. And so let's go ahead and pull the lever. See who wins a $10 Starbucks card.
Wow,
Hi, Chris.
Chris.
awesome.
So Chris, we will email you a Starbucks card by email and within the hour. And the way it works, you just take your phone, your email to the Starbucks and they'll just scan it and
Wow.
pay for what you buy.
Wow. Well,
So-
thank you very much for everybody here. I mean, all this information is so great, and I'm anxious and looking forward to learning it as much as I can, and being an addition to this group or this community. I mean, anyway, anything I can do to help anybody else, I'll do it. So I'm here. I mean, you don't need anything from me now, but maybe once I learn something and do some deals, and you maybe need something from me ever, I'm here for you.
Okay, well, yes,
Yeah.
make sure you email both Charles and I. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Herb,
I thank your husband for his service, please, for me.
likewise to you.
and say hello to him. Hey, Herb, it's
Yes.
L and it's a capital M, just to be picky.
Okay. Look at you.
Nope, L-E. I'm masculine, not feminine. Thank you very much.
Oh.
No, little E,
Okay.
there you go. I'm not L.A., I'm L-E. But thank you.
All right. This
Thank
was
you.
an amazing time. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thank you, Chris, for your service as well. And that's all we have for today. And I will end the live stream and end the recording, and we'll call it a day.
All right, Herb, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for the
Great
invite, Herb.
Okay, reach out to me anytime, Chris. I'll
Alright.
get you in touch with people, right? If you need Charles or Rebecca's emails or anything, if they're okay with that, I'll
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah, I already stuck it in there.
Oh, I see that. All righty,
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
all
You
righty,
too.
bye.
Okay.
Hey, Herb, before you hang
Yeah.
up on me, I
Yes,
was about
yes.
to call you, but if you're just gonna sit on the line, well, no, there's other people. I don't want them to hear this. Never mind, I'll call you.
I'll get off.
Okay.
It's
No.
okay.
No.
You'll